Good evening. Welcome back to Savannah by Night. We have been off for a few weeks. All the coterie needed a much needed torpor for a few weeks. So thank you for your patience and welcome back. And for anyone new here, I'm so sorry. It's gonna get bad. Or maybe that's what you're here for. Who knows? I don't judge you. I don't kink shame. I just kink ask why. Now, this is not our only game on this channel. We have D&D ongoing on Thursday with our Age of Innovation and our intermittent Star Wars game with Martell over here every other Friday-ish, when the stars align. Star Wars align? No, that's terrible. Now, I think that's really about it. Oh, except for the fact that Dreamy, you have something on Tuesdays.
I do. I am 7 episodes into a game called Embers and Arcanum over on our friends at Top Down Tabletop. Come watch me be a wonderfully terrifying bard. We have just murdered all of the fights that Vix has thrown at us so far.
And if you want to keep up to date with our schedule, if you want to come hang out with us and watch silly movies, play video games, you can always join our Discord, check our socials. And if you want to catch up on past episodes, they are all up on our YouTube channel. But there's nothing else to announce. I think we can start with telling a vampire story. Take it away, Sam. Last time on Savannah by Night. Cora was swept into the turbulent maelstrom of both memory and possibility, all the ways her life could have been, blended throughout the repetitive monotony of her lived experience. But the ephemeral figment of her imagination is gone almost as swiftly as it began, reducing the Malkavian to a vulnerable state and prompting her to abruptly leave. Cora found herself behind the diner, trying to reorient herself with reality. The waitress from earlier eventually shared a cigarette with her and a few passing words about the world that's passing both of them by. Artem awoke to find his benefactor, the seneschal of Chatham County, idly sitting on the porch, offering him a cup of tea and a surprising reprieve from his usual duties of renovating the house and minding after Chris. Alden told him to get fed and go explore as he saw fit. While he had a few options to call upon, it was Tessa Stratton that was his first and only choice. She invited him out to her estate, clear across the entirety of the county from him. It was there, at this converted and rebuilt plantation house, that she put the junior gangrel through his paces in the subtle art of commanding the beast. Tabby and Ellie returned from collecting a bag full of euphemism to give to Orson down in the brood pit of the Warrens, after which Ellie decided to send a follow-up email to the politician they've been blackmailing, chastising him for their failure, or rather outright refusal, to adhere to the parameters Ellie so clearly spelled out for him. As Tabby left Ellie's room, she was spotted by a waifish Nosferatu that taunted her into a game of tag. Though Tabby won, it came at the cost of one of her teeth, as the little girl plucked it straight from her misshapen mouth. Ellie, meanwhile, formally set up an upcoming meeting with Ava Lash. However, it came with the complication of being told to dress for success. A tall order for someone that's been wearing the same tattered hoodie for nearly 3 years, which brought Ellie to the idea of calling in Kate's debt on a prior bet, either to pay them as agreed or to help them with shopping for a more professional wardrobe. The Ventru opted to ask Nosferatu's payment info, both not wanting any further entanglements and having far more pressing things on her plate, not least of which was her continued training at Veritas, swiftly followed by Innsbruck taking her out on a very different form of job shadowing. The older Ventru brought her to a surprisingly luxurious area of a gated community, the kind surrounded on all sides by golf courses and marinas filled with yachts. Not the type of venue one might normally associate with discreet cleaners, though perhaps it should be a reminder that wealth is no guarantee against the tragedy and heartbreak of a young life cut short. Kate was assigned the solemn task of helping Innsbruck clean out the bedroom of the young woman that no longer occupied it. Poppy continued cajoling the pig-tailed mouse trapped in her personal maze of blushy delights. After coaxing her into various states of undress for the sake of art, and then into a new state of actual dress, they walked across the campus to check out the sort of party art school had on offer. Or rather, sample the people an art school party had to offer. But before we start our new nights, we have one more scene from the previous evening to pick up with. Cora, you were last seen outside the diner.
Mm,
You originally had wandered around to explore your neighborhood and perhaps get a quick meal. Now, the question is, do you still require a meal? Or is that ship sailed for you this evening?
I do still need one, but I think that doesn't happen.
Okay. So what do you do?
uh, After just wandering around aimlessly for a while, I think I simply head home. Oh, to get my car and go for a drive.
Mm,
That's what clears my head.
okay. Do you drive around your immediate area or do you go to a different part of town entirely?
It sort of spirals outward from where she started. A few turns in her local area, and the pattern that she takes gets larger and larger.
Mm. Does she look for anything in particular, or is it simply the meditative act of driving?
More the latter than anything. But if something catches her eye, she'll slow down.
Mm. You would notice that the streets are fairly clear. You have a rather clear run of the whole area. There's still some traffic, but it's tranquil. The world after 4 a.m.
Hmm.
But you know that the sun will be rising soon.
I take a look at my fuel gauge. How am I doing?
You tell me.
I think, like Cora, it could be better, but I can still get through a night or two more.
Hmm, that's up to you. The thing that I would have you consider, as this is a transparent parallel for what fuels you, you never
Mm-hmm.
know what you're doing the next night. You don't
That's
know
true.
if you are going to have to drive across the county without stopping. You don't know what trouble is going to happen.
Cora didn't bring a lot of spending money with her, so she'll chance it. Besides, she's always been one to sort of push the limits of things,
Hmm,
see how much she can get away with.
fair enough. So I'm assuming you're heading home.
Sure.
Hmm. You are able to say park is a very throwaway term for the Jenga-like arrangement you have to do to fit this car inside that tiny little garage. That it's a miracle that you don't just have to crawl out of a moonroof or something. It does help that Cora is quite diminutive.
Much like getting into certain racers. Perhaps she doesn't actually even open the door as she gets out, but rolls down the window and slips through it.
Hmm. It's a good thing that it is at least an enclosed space so no one
Mm-hmm.
has to see this indignity. But early nights, and it is your first place that you have ever actually had in your own name. So perhaps you can live with the minor inconveniences.
Exactly.
Hmm. As you lock up and you head up into the uh, living quarters of your townhome proper, the Spartan quality of it. A few bare plugs, a couple of lamps, but not nearly enough. Cot, and a couple of windows that would be problematic, but you do have a part of the place that you can hide in for the day.
Mm.
So the question I'm going to ask you is, before you bed down for the day, are there any texts that you want to send back home?
I think she received a message from Heinrich earlier,
Mm-hmm.
uh, checking on her and asking for an update.
Mm-hmm.
I think she'll go ahead and message back now. Although it's the daytime now over there. Everyone she knows is going to be asleep.
But he'll see it when he wakes up.
I'm sorry that I didn't respond right away. I had a little scare right before you sent this. Um, Otherwise, doing well. Found myself somewhere to be. It's not much, but it's mine.
So the question then is, do you send him an address?
Mm. I think I'd prefer to tell him in a phone call at some
Okay.
point, so I'll leave it off for now.
Okay.
But I will go ahead and call Gerhard and Essen with much the same sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, leaving the message. She will add her address, as
Mm.
I imagine the phone doesn't pick up.
It would eventually pick up because Gerhardt is not
Mm.
beholden to the same complications. Oh, hello.
You're up late?
Up late, up early, depending how you look at it.
Right. Um, just sort of checking in. It's been a week now.
And are we having fun at camp?
It's going well, I think, mostly. Uh, Meeting lots of people. Got a couple of job opportunities, accepted one. So,
Hmm. I'm assuming you are being circumspect about what jobs you're taking.
it's sort of an Uber Eats.
You do hear him pull away from the phone to start to laugh a little bit. Cute.
But with the right people, I think.
Well, only you can know for sure.
Sure. Oh, I'm living somewhere too now. Uh, so if you have something to take down my address.
I have been waiting since you called.
Well, here it is. And she will
Mhm.
hand over that address in Savannah.
Ah, well, this will make his night when he wakes up.
You should look it up. It's got a sort of an old world charm.
Hmm. I imagine without the brutal overlays.
Hmm.
But good. I'm glad to hear from you. Is there anything we can send?
Uh, well, I'm not exactly sure yet. Uh, Actually, one thing I didn't bring was ice skates.
I wasn't aware there was a lot of skating that went on in the hot south.
Neither was I, and so that's why I left them behind. But I've been taking a look on the maps, and it turns out there is a place.
Hmm. Oh my, what would Heinrich say?
If that's the only way I can convince him to come out here, then
Oh, to be a fly on that particular wall.
oh, I'm supposed to go with some others for a little bit of training tomorrow, just to make sure we can take care of ourselves, self-defense.
Oh, I can't wait to hear all about that.
Hopefully, what you showed me will do me well.
Have you put it into practice yet?
Uh, haven't had reason, so this will be the first test.
You hear someone restraining a smile. Is the only way I can really put that is that you know that there's a bit of a smirk on the other end of it, and you've seen him make that expression many times.
She'll say in German to him, "What?"
Ah, and he does switch into German as he says, 1,000 travel books aren't worth one trip.
Hmm. Right. So this is my first ticket.
Mm. And he kind of just trails off from there. Good luck. It's a break a leg, but the other guys.
I'll make sure that's what it is.
Or, rib, that works too. In any case, I'll let Essen know.
It's good to hear your voice, Gerhard.
Yours as well. Good day?
Just about
Mhm.
getting sleepy.
I'll let you get to it. Click. Now from there, unless there's any other thoughts you wanted to add.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We can start our new night. Now, there is a bit of bookkeeping we have to do as always. For anyone that is waking up, they'll be spending a point of blood. For anyone that is intending to be around humans this evening, you may wish to spend another. You don't have to. It just might be in your...
Havel's gym. Would we know if there would be people there, or is it strictly kindred?
You know that the bulk of people going there are going to be kindred, just by sheer virtue of who you've talked to.
Okay. So would it be safe if that was the plan?
It would be safe that you wouldn't have to.
Sweet. It's my
You
first
would know
night
that
to not
I've been
have
there
to
before.
spend 2 blood. And
What was
then
that,
2
Tara?
more XP.
I'm sorry. I was just going to point out you would know that Tabby's been there.
Yes. So once again, we have closed a new night. You have an additional 2 experience to add to your sheet. Now, for anyone that needs to reclaim some willpower, the way that I've been working this so it's not so monumental is you automatically regain 1, but if you have spent more than that, you need to provide an argument. So is there anyone that needs more than 1? Okay, then. So we can montage this a little bit as everyone is waking up in their respective havens. Some of them more of a group home type situation if you're a Nosferatu. But we're going to go down the list of how their night is starting. And we're just going to spend a few minutes on this. Anything that you need to do in terms of setting up future meetings or dates, or any little small errands you need to get done, we'll talk about that now. I'm going to start with Tara.
Tabby will wake up in their little nook, and the first thing that she would likely check is the spot where the tooth had been so deftly yanked from her skull.
Mm. So, the interesting thing about kindred anatomy is you are largely in stasis. You don't bleed profusely as though you are in a Tarantino movie. There's the initial uh, rush of blood as something impacts you or is removed from you, but there is no continued flow. You are in a state of stasis. So for many kindred, they can get their hair cut, but the next time they go to heal, their body returns to the state at which they were uh, embraced. So you would need to spend blood to heal that. Now the question is, it is a superficial blemish. Is it worth the blood right now?
You think she's actually gonna, after just being like, okay, wound is gone, there's now
Mm-hmm.
just a tooth absence.
Mm-hmm.
I think she'd probably, I don't know if there's a reflective surface. There probably is not. But
You,
she would,
you can find one
in her phone
or
at the very least, even just like a little, not taking any pictures. But
good, learning.
no, but upon just like seeing her face would kind of like grin into the mirror and be like, fuck it.
Mm.
And leave the gap in her teeth for now as kind of a little badge of the
You got the London
mishaps.
look, but you did it wrong.
I mean, the rest of her face is all messed up. Only she'll really
It's all
recognize.
misaligned anyways.
Yeah, I'll know. But yeah, she, as the mishaps of the night before were at least in some ways a victory for her. So
Mm,
she will kind of smile and keep that hole in her teeth for now, as it is not a necessary thing. And
okay.
she will check the time and decide to text, since definitely the closest and most accessible to heading to the scheduled event at the dojo would be Ellie. Uh, Tabby will text Ellie, "Hey, you up?" Whoops, never mind. Hey, are you awake?
I would say you would get back a text along the lines of having to give someone the consequences of their poor decision making in the way that Ellie would say that. But hilariously, it is using the font for magazine letter cutout just to give you an idea of what they're referencing and not refer back to it any more than that.
Sorry. Are you heading out tonight to meet up?
Just so I'm not playing telephone for the player that isn't here, they're going to be indisposed. They're already gone.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They are
Best
already
of
dealing with their
Have fun
situation.
with that. And Tabby will begin making her way to the dojo
Okay.
in a sleuthy sewers way.
It's more sluicy, but yeah. Is there any particular errand you want to take care of before you get there? Any kind of feeding or
The pool's looking good. She's a little hungry,
Mhm.
but only slightly more than normal. I think she's good to head directly there.
Okay. Are you're over half at least?
Yes.
Are you over 10?
Yes.
Okay. That's not bad. Staying lean, staying hungry is not the worst thing in the world, but you don't want to be
Two
hangry.
down from max.
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You can always go for a rat run later on the way home.
Pick up some fast food.
Yeah, literally. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna just swerve the camera over. We're gonna pick back up in very different environs. Poppy.
Um, Poppy awakens in her beautiful room that she's still working on. There are certain corners that haven't been poppyfied yet. Um, but she changes out of her matching PJ set with it has yellow flowers on it. It's very cute. And changes goes through her drawers and is like looking around, being like, okay, workout stuff, workout stuff. And she's like having a bit of a hard time with it, as most of her athleisure clothing is more about showing off her assets in different ways. And so
You
she
could have shortened that word and it still would have been true.
Correct, correct. So I think
Or ets.
she settles on some leggings that have like cutouts on the sides, and not really having a real shirt that would go with it. She picks up an old Guns N' Roses t-shirt that is mostly just holes now.
So it just
But she's
says,
like,
does it even say the full phrase Guns N'
it
Roses
just
or is
has
it
the
sort of
ampersand.
okay?
It's or the N. It's not an
Hmm.
ampersand, just the N. But it's mostly holes, and she puts on a bright orange like sports bra underneath, and like looks at herself in the mirror and goes, "Yeah, I look buff." Uh, um,
That means
and I
something
think
very
she,
different to millennials, doesn't it?
Mhm. um, and so she, um, packs a little bag, of a change of clothes, and maybe even a change of gym clothes in case she is rejected, and she does fear that. Um, yeah, and I think she just gets ready to head on out the door. If anyone's around in the house, she'll definitely say good morning, or good evening rather.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah, she's driven.
You don't find Clarice this time, or at least she's not in the place you've come to expect her.
Mhm.
You do find Nico in the kitchen. Uh, not making coffee as much as just sort of sprucing up the place,
Mm,
making it look just a little more dazzling.
mm,
His jacket is on a wooden hanger hanging off a chair, and him trying to look like he's at, with his sleeves rolled up, still looks very much like he's in a jewelry shop. It's all very poised and precise. Oh, where are you running off to?
I'm going to the gym to train to fight. Self-defense, I think.
You're going to go spend an evening with Howl.
Yeah, yeah. What?
Let me know how it goes.
Well, dude, do you think this outfit is going to be okay? I didn't have anything like.
Come, 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 come. And he's just sort of like holding up his hand for to take yours to give you that little like spin. I love it. It's very Instagram friendly.
Mhm.
Um,
He said no Instagram outfits. I can't help it.
well, sometimes defy expectations. Maybe she wants you to show up one way, but if you show up and you kick ass looking like that anyways, who gives a shit?
That's true.
Besides, they
That's
can they
true.
can look at this dainty little rose and find all her little thorns,
Yes. Okay.
or find out
Yeah.
she's underground. We'll find out soon enough, though, and I'm so happy for you.
Well, I'm sure it will be fine. I know it's probably just all in my head, really. And plus, I'm going with a bunch of people, well, people
Going with
who
the new
came to,
bloods.
yeah, new bloods. It's an interesting term. I feel like we need like a squad name instead of New Bloods. It's too obvious.
Okay. Well, parsing this for the older man. Usually we use the word coterie, but that's intriguing. Is that what you want to be?
Coterie. What does coterie entail? I don't want anything that has too many weighty obligations.
Well, it means something different to everyone. Sometimes it's a case of you're a war party and you're looking to take over a place for some fresh regime change. It's one presentation.
Hmm.
Sometimes people are just in an art collective.
See, that sounds nice. That sounds welcoming.
Uh, in reality, works more like a you have their back, they have yours.
That seems to be the case.
No, definitely a case for, well, new bloods. There are elders who occasionally engage in such things, but it's much more of a political aspect. Sometimes they're not
Got
even
it.
in the same city as they're trying to, in some very real ways, move actual mountains.
Well, we're just learning to fight as a group
Mhm.
for now. So coterie sounds fine for what we are. I was just calling it the group text mentally.
That's apt, very modern.
Yeah.
But the question is, do you know if they have your back?
No,
I point out that you have been fooled before.
thanks for that so early in the night. But hey, maybe it'll make my punches harder.
Ah,
Um,
there we go. I'm just helping motivate you.
Listen, maybe I could use this as like an outlet. Um, but
Do
yeah,
you have
I
a
don't know if
picture
they
you
have
could
my
just sort of
back.
pin to a wall or dartboard?
I wouldn't want to put a printer through printing on his face. It's mostly sunglasses anyway.
Okay, well, don't knock those.
Well, they were, whatever, they were a designer, but he didn't have to wear them inside.
They were his one redeeming feature and his cheekbones at times, but
And other things.
that was a trap.
For you or me?
For
'Cause I'm
you.
dragging you down with me.
Oh, this is going to be fun for me.
Well, thank you for the advice, regardless.
Poppy, come here a moment. And he's just going to lean over the like kitchen island. I hope you're getting into at least a little bit of trouble.
Define trouble.
No,
The
that's
most,
your job.
but
But
okay,
I can't
you
know about it, and I
you
can't be
understand.
made um complicit. It can't be tied to me in any way. But tell me all about it.
I I mean the only trouble I've gotten up to so far was sucking on the weed guy who was making ravioli last night at a SCAD college party and getting a little bit high.
Huh. Okay. Lots to unpack there.
Mhm. That's pretty much it. There's not
Not
much
least of
else.
which the word choice leaves something to be desired.
Not like that. He
Okay.
was cooking raviolis.
Never mind. So, did you have a good time?
Yeah, yeah, I
Did you leave a
did.
mess?
No, did not
Emotionally?
leave a mess. Emotionally, yes, perhaps,
Ooh.
definitely.
Tell me.
Um, I've been seeing this one SCAD student, sort of. Um, as a food source mostly, but also a little bit romantically. It's just kind of a casual thing. Um, but I think I may be ruining her life potentially because it's a casual thing. So there's that. But also, I don't have time to get into anything serious right now, nor would I really want to with this person.
You're going to reach across the table and just this little boop on the nose. Don't be like him.
Right. Right.
Either enjoy her on the same level or cut her loose.
Oh, no. Um, yes. Yeah, no, that is a good idea, because I don't want to ever emulate fuckboy culture, That would be really bad. For sure. Oh, okay.
Well, I can see you have a few things to work out tonight.
Yes. Yes, I certainly do. But punching first, breaking things off later. That's actually a pretty good
Is that what you want to
order of
do?
things. Well, I don't desire anything serious right now, but also enjoy spending time with this person. So maybe I just need to DTR, be like clear about my needs, my wants, without being too clear about my needs and wants, you know?
Ah, the subtle art of fucking around.
Yes, hopefully not finding out.
Oh, later that night. Now, you should be getting a moving on, shall we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Zico.
Have fun.
Oh, I
Oh,
will.
Clarice did want to talk with you at some point, but it's not pressing.
Okay, I'll check in with her when I get back in.
See that you do.
I will.
Okay. If there's nothing else you want to add, we're going to jump over to Artem.
Sounds good.
Tell me about your process tonight.
So wouldn't mind going out and getting a little baby snack, but it's mostly just going to
Everybody
be
needs to work on their wording tonight, just a little bit.
a small, perhaps one blood point, if we were to put it into certain terms, worth of snack.
Okay.
Um,
If you want to go for a quick little hunt in the localized wilderness, we could do a survival and
I like that.
whichever thing you want to give me an argument for.
We'll go with.
Are you anticipating the animal or are you looking for targets of opportunity?
I'm looking for targets of opportunity. I'm really just trying to go for the first noise I hear, essentially.
Okay,
So probably perception is what I would guess.
fair. Let's go with just perception, survival, just 6.
Okay.
Actually, no, we'll go with 5
Hello.
for this.
Oh, that mattered.
Hmm.
Cool. I got 2 5s, Graham.
And how many
10,
ones?
which became an 8. So that is, Jesus, 6?
I'd say with that many successes, you are able to do this in such a way. How far down your blood stack are you?
2.
Okay. So I'll let you make a choice
Mm-hmm.
because of the amount of successes. You can either be Um, completely topped up, but you've killed something.
Hmm.
Or you can get 1 point and you have kept the balance and nothing died.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
Okay.
We'll keep the balance. Nothing died. That is the way.
Okay.
Maybe we can say we did it very quickly as well.
Yeah, with that many successes, that works for me.
Okay. Aside from that, still waiting to see when the stuff for the stairs is going to come in. I know I've got a couple of tools that we ordered, and the specific, like, I forget what the word is, but like things that connect to the railing.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, support spokes. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure.
Yeah.
That would take probably a couple days at
Okay.
least,
Yeah.
because
So.
it's probably actually more than that, because someone has to do these by hand.
Mhm.
And it is local, which Alden seemed to approve of.
Mhm.
It's not something you can do, but you sourced the person.
Right. Yeah.
So
And we'll
it's
just basically check on the status of that. I
mhm,
assume still in progress, so that's
yeah.
fine. Um,
So there's probably some things that you can pick up, but you'd have to
mhm.
go into town. Same thing with any deliveries. Nothing gets sent directly to the house.
Of course.
There is a PO box that you can go to for that.
Mhm. Depending on how much time I have, I can go grab things that are in that PO box. Maybe even just do something really quick, and then I'll just grab Chris and say, "You ready to go?"
Yeah, what other kind of things are you wanting to do? Instead of little
Maybe
errands or
mostly just like if there's anything really quick around the house that I can knock out.
okay. Yeah, there's probably just um itemizing an area
Hmm.
or uh I wouldn't say like painting an area because that takes a bit more time and energy.
Yeah.
But maybe just um sanding something really
Hmm.
quick or um prying up some boards and checking out the status of something going, okay, this has to get junked, this needs to go on the uh, pile of things that can be reclaimed,
Hmm.
or just checking the status of the rot behind it if there is any.
Yeah.
So it's just maintenance and invasive investigation in a few places, but overall you're okay.
Right. Yeah. Just got a big list on my phone of all the things.
Hmm.
So just adding more to that list. And
I imagine Artem is learning uh, Excel as a result.
yes, if he didn't know it already, which maybe he didn't.
Probably not. He probably did it more on paper, but now that he's getting comfortable
Hmm.
with his phone, maybe he's
Yeah.
finding ways to use it. But eventually, you do find Chris, and unlike last time, it is uh, sweatpants and like a ripped sweater crop top, but with a sports bra underneath, just to give it a little bit of fashion while still being functional.
Hmm.
But other than that, it's pretty much uh, real gym attire this time around in comparison.
Hmm.
But she
Yeah.
is bringing her own little backpack of presumably a change of clothes, maybe some other little odds and ends.
Yeah. Artem will probably do the same. Also sweatpants, probably just a, you know, just some t-shirt. Uh, yeah, he's got a bag, some change of clothes as well. And yeah, ready to go.
Okay. Do you stop for anything on the way there, or is it just heading on out? Or is there any conversations you try and have with her on the way?
Um, Nothing crazy, just kind of like, you know, mess with her a little bit, um, get her ready to go.
Mhm. Okay. Well, if there's nothing too pressing, we can pan the camera over. We're going to go over to Kate.
I am going to start the night by calling Halsey and let him know about the chance to go learn at Havel's
Mm-hmm.
in place of work that night.
I would say it probably would have been easier to do that the night before,
Okay.
but we can wibbly wobbly this a tiny bit. So if you want to, do you want to role play out the call, or do you just want to make
We
that
can
part
just
of
say we did it.
it? Okay. Just saying because you wouldn't want to spring that on him
Mhm.
the night of.
Yeah.
But yeah, considering the utility in terms of working at Veritas, and you know that she has trained some of the people that worked at Veritas, this is entirely in keeping. And considering there was the preface of learning how to actually do combat with your own kind is going to be the kind of extracurricular that's important because all the training you've been getting at Veritas has been mundane. So that's perfectly acceptable. Is there any particular errands you want to get done or any particular meetings you want to set up at the start of your evening?
I need to make 2 phone calls. Not
Okay.
calls, text.
Mhm.
Already made the actual call. First, I want to text Barry.
Very.
Yes. I'm gonna text him. Sorry last night ended the way it did. Can I make it up to you with a real date this weekend? Because it's
So
what,
in
Thursday?
yeah, I guess it's been
It's Wednesday,
It's
August
Wednesday.
8th.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So has it been a day or 2 days since your interaction with him?
I think it was just the night before. I think Barry was right before work in Innsbruck, but 2
Okay.
sessions ago.
All right. So
I'll have to double check.
we'll presume that at least a night's gone by.
Mhm.
And unlike the mouse who sends back a string of dot 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 dot, it's just a very quick and decisive. Sure. Where would you like to go?
Me as the player is now like, ah.
It's okay. You can look at it as
Uh,
I'll send you some options kind of
yeah,
thing.
we'll go with that.
Okay. So that's tabled. What's
Mhm.
your other one?
I am going to text Belle.
Oh. And what do you say to Belle?
Now, if Belle had her phone up and could
Mm.
see, there would probably be a lot of dot dot dots.
Ooh.
But she's not expecting anything, so she doesn't know. It's great.
Now, here's the part that I find fun about certain Malkavians. They can sometimes clue into the precognitive aspect and for no reason, just, I'm looking at my phone. I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. But you don't know if that's what she's doing.
Yep.
But you do know that she is slightly keyed in.
I think I'll just send a, hey, would you want to meet up sometime soon? Just to chat. And to give preference to this, because it's
Mhm.
been a few weeks for the audience and my fellow players,
Mhm.
it has only been a few hours since Kate left that scene with Innsbruck. and looked at all of these horrific news stories before falling asleep. And in all of her facade, there is one person that she has seemed to be able to let that down a little bit around. So she's reaching out.
The venture doing self-care. What will the generation say? Now,
And I think she's only reaching out because it deeply, deeply affected her. She cannot shove down all those feelings. She tried.
now you know Belle to be economical with her words as best she can, because it can be a little much for her. It all tends to become a mulched up word salad after a little while, or social interactions can be just too much. But in text, she's able to order and be a little more loquacious in comparison. Hi, Kate. It's nice to hear from you. Do you want to go somewhere in particular? I have some thoughts.
Nowhere in mind. You know where you're most comfortable at.
Is Wormslow better, or do you want to get away from there?
Away.
I'll send you some thoughts,
I appreciate it.
and I'll get back to you with some ideas from where we can have this scene another day. Is there anything else you want to take care of before you head out?
I'm good now. Kate will put her hair back in a ponytail, put on a slightly cropped sleeveless black tee, some black like athletic leggings, and some tennis shoes.
No, because it makes me laugh, but you need to tell me if this is true or not. This monochromatic gym attire, is your accent piece just these really loud, obnoxious sneakers, or are they just completely bland as well?
No, they're completely bland as well, but they're like a nice brand that's well fitted for her feet. She did a lot of Soul Cycle pre being embraced, so,
She had her own Peloton and everything, and
Mhm.
okay. Want to get down to a Fran Drescher 90 size 2 before the embrace. But if there's nothing else, I can pan the camera over. Great. Now we pick up with Cora, last but not least.
All right. Excuse me while I get near my microphone.
Oh no, that's so terrible for all of us.
Cora, right now, since there's not much around, has a pretty simple routine. She's taken to sleeping in this little small office closety space that is away from the windows until she can get some good window treatments. And so she'll reach up after still sitting on her cot to the like clothes hanger bar above her and sort of look at what's up there and grab down the second unaltered and not given away like coveralls, the mechanics coveralls that she has, the tan ones.
Mm-hmm.
She'll think for a minute, look over to her bag where she keeps her little meditation clothes. But she'll go, and she'll put on the coveralls, and just like a sleeveless shirt, and then wear them open and hanging down, but then she'll tie the sleeves around to kind of cinch them in place.
I'm getting that Battlestar Galactica mechanic look in my head, and I'm not upset by
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, okay. Now, I know some answers to this, but are there any other texts or any errands you want to deal with before you head out?
Ah, right. Um, well, she'll go ahead and check on texts now that her night has started and theirs has been going on for a while
Mm-hmm.
to see if there's anything from home or from Heinrich.
Interesting that you delineate the two. Now, you do have messages from Essen,
Ah, all right.
and it is a string of wanting to know more about the place that you're staying in. Gerhard has shown him the pictures, presumably having looked at like Google Street View.
I'm sure.
Uh, Wanting to know if you are avoiding certain places, going after other ones, uh, wanting to know more about your current employment, but in much more flat and direct and very German.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of that. Tell me everything. Oh, sorry, let me rephrase that. Tell me everything. And just a lot of stuff like that.
Cora won't be shy about giving him answers. She
Mhm.
will respect the fact that this is a text message,
Mhm.
and not say anything that could get her into hot water later. But yeah, she'll absolutely be forthcoming and direct, with, because she can't help herself. Maybe a, a joke here or there,
Hmm.
poking at maybe the way he phrased something, how terse it is.
I imagine there's a moment where he turns the phone over to Gerhardt and goes, "I don't understand what she means. This is how I talk." A lot of little like back and forth like that. You do have something waiting from Heinrich because what was again your last message to him? It was you hadn't told him that you have new digs, or
I
did
did
you?
end up telling him that, but I
Mhm.
didn't send him the address.
You didn't send him the address.
And I used that to change the subject when uh, and I let Heinrich know that I had had an episode,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't actually tell Gerhard. So
Oh, okay. The message reads, "Call me when you wake up."
I will call him.
Okay. For a moment, it does sound as though when he picks up, he is in the middle of a conversation, but in a way that says, uh, excuse me a moment, I'll be right back. And he is clearly stepping away from a conversation. Cora.
Heinrich. Cora defaults to German for
Mhm.
this conversation. I think this is the first time we've had a synchronous conversation since I've been here.
Time zones are what they are, I suppose.
Mm. So, how are you? How are things back home?
You can almost hear him craning his neck a little bit to look over his shoulder, maybe paying attention idly to whatever conversation or the situation he happens to be in at the moment. You kind of know his body language in that way, so you can almost tell that's what he's doing, but in this absent void of context.
Are you working right now?
Always.
Mm.
But you said you experienced something.
Yeah, it was a little bit overwhelming. Um, uh, it was all fiction. Well, I think just a lot of I'm sure in German there's a word for when something is it's like possibility, but it's not actually achievable. It's a
Yeah,
whole
if there
bunch
would be
of dead
one
end
Western
scenarios.
language
Yeah.
that would condense that into a word, it would be German.
Mhm. So she'll use that word.
Yeah. Nothing to be done for it.
I talked to a waitress and I went for a drive. Had a smoke. That was interesting.
And you do kind of hear him, like the cogs turning just a little bit as he's trying to find a way to converse about this over the phone in a way that is not betraying anything. And considering you know what he does, he takes that very seriously. From what I've been told for many in your position, it's the regrets that kill you.
Hmm. Well, I'd believe it.
You said that there was possibility.
Right. Things never achieved. Roads never gone down.
People forget that the road not taken, that whole story. They didn't read the rest of it. The road not taken leads back to the rest of the path. You just took a longer route.
Mm.
So don't focus on all the paths you could take. Take the ones you want. Take the ones you can. And don't let yourself be stopped by forks.
Right. It's interesting thinking about it all anyway. It's sometimes I feel like I've sort of already made it to the end of the road. And this is, well, a little bit different.
No. You just finally got off the track. Now you're on the road.
Hmm.
Maybe now you can finally decide where you're going.
Boy, perhaps I will. I'm having Gerhard send my skates. I know you said you're over it, but I'm not yet. So
So he has somewhere to send them.
he does.
And you can kind of just hear the waiting.
Is it? I'm not taking all your attention. I'm not going to get you killed.
If that was the case, I wouldn't pick it up.
Okay, good. Here, and she'll give him the address.
Ah, good.
Now, look, I'm probably going to get, a post office box or something. But
Well, then it pleases me to not have to deal with it.
yes.
But if you'd prefer that,
No, you can send it right away. That's fine.
well, I have to get back to work.
Sure, and I have places to be too.
I hope to hear about them.
Of course. It's, keep your eyes open.
You as well. Click.
Should I have told him not to go stopping anybody in alleys?
He did say not to worry about regrets. But as we have gone through the start of tonight, I think it's appropriate for us to have a very quick break before we start the back half. Very quick.
Real quick.
Real quick.
Can I send Bruce Hauer a message asking him if he wants to throw down?
We'll deal with that one after the break. Welcome back to Savannah by Night. We were just catching up with our neonates after being off for a few weeks, but now we're getting into the meat of tonight's session proper, where everyone's about to be showing up for training. How all that goes is ultimately up to them. But before we do that, you had a text that you wanted to send out.
Yep. So on my phone, Bruce Hauer.
Mm-hmm.
Classroom study session. You in? Question mark.
What a coincidence. I'm already there.
See you in a few.
No response. So, as we all start finding somewhere to park, filtering in, do you all take your own means of getting there? Do you buddy up? Do you arrange any of this via carpool in the group text?
I was gonna ask how Tabby gets there.
I think it
We
makes
did.
sense. Tabby left pretty early. Did not have any other like things for the night. I don't know how much time that would buy her, but probably making her way there on foot.
Artem did take you last time, so he'd probably offer again.
If that makes more sense, she would take up take you up on that again.
That would make a bit of sense.
Yeah.
Because you've been in the
You near
car
this
with
street? I can be
yeah,
there in a sec.
that sort of thing. Anyone else? Are you all arriving separately?
Same sort of thing, where Cora will send in a group chat that's like, heading through town if anyone needs a pickup. Well, just one person needs a pickup.
Poppy will text back, sure, and then send the address. Swing on by here.
Hmm.
Is that
Now,
not? Do people not know where Nico and Clarice live in
it's
general?
probably an open secret in a way, but you
Hmm.
are telling someone to meet them where you're staying. Is that something you want to do, or do you want to go a street or two over and have them meet you?
Mm.
Either is
I'll
fine.
go.
I just want to know what you want to do.
I'll go a street or two over.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I think since Nico had that comment about like, do your friends have your back?
Hmm.
Mm,
And I think she's been percolating a little bit, being like, well, I was upset when Ellie intruded, but was everybody else as upset as I was? And why weren't they? Yeah.
So we can assume you went to like a coffee house or something like that, and you were going the
Hmm.
full Insta girly. You got the iced coffee ahead of going to the gym for
Oh,
some
yeah.
reason.
Oh, yeah. You gotta. It smells good, if anything.
Mhm. Did you get one just for you, or did you get one for both of you?
I'll get one for both of us.
Okay.
That feels fair.
That'd be a hell of a move if you just got one for you and she's picking you up.
Hmm.
Even though neither of you are able to really enjoy it on the same level. But
I'll pull up.
Hi, I got you a it's like an oat lavender latte situation. Seems good.
Cora will get out to greet you and grab the coffee. You'll see she's wearing the driving gloves. Goes, Poppy, great to see you.
Good
Goes,
to see you. I love those gloves. I'm so glad they work for you. They work for
uh,
this whole outfit with the little coveralls.
yeah, do you think I should? I don't want to mess them up and keep them on. I'll probably take them off when we're in there, but you look great.
Maybe. Oh, thanks, thanks. I didn't know what to wear because I was told not to wear anything Instagrammable, but everything I own, I feel like is very aesthetically curated. So here's hoping that I don't, well, this shirt is already ruined, so it'll be fine.
You know, the coffee is something a friend and I used to like to do all the time, even though, it smells nice.
Doesn't it? Well, I think the lavender is actually pretty cool. I know it's trendy, but I like it. I like the floral scents, which is fitting.
No, it's good, especially in the summer. Uh, well, it's unlocked.
If there's not a cup holder in here, I can hold it for you. Also, I didn't even
There's
think
cup
of that.
holders. Yeah.
There's okay, excellent,
Mhm.
excellent. Okay,
I think the
just want to
cup
make sure.
holder is Poppy.
I'm good at
It's a
that.
new car. It has cup holders. Come on.
Okay, I just checking. I didn't know if like you pull up in some sort of race car situation. You're pretty cool with your race cars.
Thank you.
Amazing. Have you ever fought before? Like
I assume
combat?
you're driving now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've not like for real, but I had a couple of tips before I came out this way, just to sort of make sure that I could take care of myself if I needed to.
That's so smart. I should have been Googling, to be honest, on my way over, though I had no idea what to expect.
My
Slight tan. No, 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 you
hmm?
go.
My one of my family members showed me in a way, so someone I stayed with.
That's amazing. I was it a family member from before or current family?
No. Current.
Current family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, my dad and I used to like pretend like we would spar. Um, but that's about it. Didn't
That's
really.
really charming.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was nice. It was very nice.
You were going to say something.
Oh, okay, this I had a conversation earlier with this guy I'm staying with, Nico, who I don't know if you've met him. He and I go back a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
just as a reminder, you would have saw him, all of you would have seen him during the introductions, because he came up to the front and vouched for her.
I think Cora will at least be able to make that connection then that that's who she's probably talking about.
um, and we were just discussing dinner plans in the area, consistent dinner plans in the area, I suppose. Um, I was planning on texting in the coterie. Coterie, by the way, is the word that he used for our group because he kept saying new bloods, and I was like, that's like a little, I don't know. It seemed medical. I didn't like it. But coterie sounds pretty. So, but he's basically, I was going to text in the coterie asking for advice about. um, a potential situation that I have never really found myself in, where I am halfway dating the person that I'm also taking blood from. Um, have you ever been in that kind of weird dynamic?
Oh, yeah, actually, there was
Really?
this
Okay, thank God.
girl named Dita, and we met at like it was sort of a art music kind of venue. It was
Oh,
really
you're
nice.
gay. Sorry, continue. Music art venue, Dita. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Um, so uh, they they were wonderful. It was a very nice feed. It was
Yeah.
the first one that I'd done on my own. Um,
Mhm.
and just something about that moment we just really connected. And so I kept in touch with her, and that carried on all the way and just about until I left. So,
Wow.
well, I guess there's a bit of a gap, but not a long one.
That's amazing. Like, how do you, I guess, juggle the two sides of yourself without becoming, for lack of better term, a complete and utter fuckboy?
Oh, um, I didn't really have a lot of time for relationships before being what we are now, right?
Mhm.
So we're alone and driving. Before I was embraced, it was a bit of a lonely life. I
Mm.
spent all my time working, so I couldn't tell you if there was much difference between the way I handled things with data and the way I would have handled things otherwise.
Got it. Sorry if that's too much to ask about, but thanks for being honest. I
Sure.
was worried.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry if it wasn't very helpful, but I
No, it's very helpful.
I guess yeah, that if I was going to say anything, maybe just sort of behave as if it's any sort of relationship, right? Um,
Right.
then if it's not working or it needs to end, or if someone else comes into the picture, then and you're not comfortable with it anymore, then that's it. Um,
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Right. Do you know, I don't know if you remember her, Olivia. We met.
Have I met Olivia, Graham?
Briefly.
A
She was
very,
the
very brief introduction at
she was the
the
Tremere
greenhouse.
at the greenhouse outside the stone cottage.
Yes.
S-
Yeah. No, I do know Olivia, or of her at least.
Yeah, so the night that I sort of just at least passed your names between each other, you had sort of an interesting similarity for me. It's hard exactly to say. It was like you were the same person for a moment, and you were both uh, very elegantly dressed. Um, so
In what? What was it?
it's muddled at this point,
Oh, fair.
but
I'll give you this. You're able to recall some details enough that it both sounds familiar and not. Like something you could have worn, but maybe not.
does as Cora is describing this, is she able to continue to pay attention to the road, or does she get lost a little bit as well?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. Okay.
I want the rest of the session to proceed apace, so we're not going to get into
Thank
that.
you. All right. So, I don't know if it means anything, but I thought you might like to know.
I absolutely do. I'm that weird person that wants to hear what people dream about. I love that. Oh, I should reach out and see what that's about.
Yeah, I
Maybe it's
really like her,
prophetic.
so I think she'd be open to hearing from you. Yeah.
Amazing. So cool. It's nice to be thought about, even if on accident.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. It is nice to be thought about.
I think that's a good moment to sort of pan out from this little companionship. So we're going to go in parallel to Artem and Chris picking up Tabby. And you're able to find that appropriate closed off alley street, clamber into the back of the car and sort of lay down across the back of it. And off you go.
Sorry, backseat situation's not much better. How's it
Hey,
going?
I was in a trunk before. This
That
is
better
luxury.
or worse? Okay.
I'm ready to throw down. I don't
Let's
know
go.
how much we'll be given the opportunity to do that, but who knows?
With this many people, I imagine there will be a lot of paired off sparring, but who knows?
Best of luck.
Same to you.
Lost a tooth earlier.
And that's when Chris
What?
just turns around from the front passenger seat. Bitch, what?
Played a game of tag down in the sewers. Someone pulled a tooth out after I won tag.
She looks at you, then to Artem, and then back. I don't think you're doing it right.
Oh no.
Who was it?
Spooky little girl.
Oh my God, tell me everything.
Tabby will proceed to tell most of the details. She will not reveal Alice's name,
I
but
see.
of basically was
Learning to hold
visiting.
something back. Good, good.
Yeah,
This is some personal growth.
was rounding a corner when a spooky ring-like vampire girl decided to
So
play a game of tag.
Out
And
of
I
character, I would like to point out the delicious, I don't know, irony of you describing a ring girl and you are going to a fight club where there's probably going to be at least one Toreador dressed up as a ring girl in her own way. Carry on.
there it is. And yeah, just embellishing while holding back the details, so also to make the situation seem more spooky and bizarre for storytelling's sake.
Mm.
And then I grabbed her and her face like smashed into the ground and some teeth flew everywhere. Not my teeth.
But at least some of your teeth.
None of my teeth. The that was basically in kind of recompense for that little whoops.
She kind of subconsciously like licks at her own teeth, just be like, okay, they're all there. That didn't just happen to me. Ah.
You might dream about it tonight. You ever have those dreams where you're like pushing at your teeth with your tongue and they just kind of bend
No,
forward out of
what is
place?
wrong with you?
You can't say that's a wrong with me. That's a terrible dream that I have sometimes. It's worse now since they're all like,
Maybe we
because
could,
then most people wake up and they're
maybe,
like,
maybe.
"Oh, my teeth are fine," but I'm like, I wake up and I'm just like, "Oh God, that's how they're supposed to be."
She starts cracking knuckles. Maybe we can make it a reality.
I mean, we might be given a chance tonight. See if you can knock my teeth out.
She looks to Artem like, that's an open invitation.
It is.
Hey, you wouldn't happen to know where Ellie is tonight, would you?
Ellie had other plans, is thoroughly engaged with some other task.
That bitch.
Someone is in for it.
Really?
Oh yeah. They have a gig and someone involved in the gig fucked up.
Boo. Is there anything else you want to share or ask?
No.
Okay. We're going to pan back over to Kate. Now, unless you had any conversations with yourself as the odd person out, did you?
No.
Okay. Were there any phone calls that you were having while you were driving? Any texts that you were dictating through the infotainment center?
Nope, not unless there were any continued conversations from earlier, but I think those are future plans to be had.
Okay. So I would say you are pulling up as they are, and you're starting to filter in.
Yeah, I think Kate is definitely going to notice the like mid conversations everyone else is having while they're getting out and yeah.
Fair. But the flip side of that is maybe you can offer rides back, have different conversations. But as you all begin to filter in, I'm going to focus on Cora for just a moment. Just because I didn't do something to you while you were driving doesn't mean you're scot-free.
Oh, fun.
As you enter the place charmingly referred to as the classroom, which is just the gym, you see the boxing ring, the various workout equipment and areas, and some more open areas. It's clearly more for sparring or training. But what hits you immediately is a smell. It is strange to have a sense memory for something that is not your memory. You are transfixed for a moment of a few seconds of cataplexy as the room is filled with snapshot motion blurs and time lapses of various bouts, both in the ring, on the open floor, people working out, but these indistinct blurs, as though watching 10 years of motion compressed down to a few seconds. All indistinct. You can surmise the general activities going on, but it's so fast and so all-encompassing of the entire room that it's all just a haze.
Can I try to get an angle?
By the time you think to look for an angle, it's already gone, and you are back in the real world again.
You
Cora
okay?
moves with, like, takes a little half step. There's there's a lot of history here.
Mm, probably really sweaty history.
That I imagine that scent was of exertion, right?
However you wish to categorize the various states of sweat is entirely up to you.
Mm-hmm. It's, uh, yeah, a very sweaty one. Um, but this place is well used. Has been for a long time.
And as you are saying that, someone walks in from a back room that you have met, Havel. Sharp clap. All right, kids, line up. Put your crap aside. And
Cora,
walking out with her is Bruce.
Cora
The only
immediately does as she's told.
As Bruce walks out, you were reminded for one brief second that Artem is not the most giant man in the world. So she does run you through a little bit of the warm up. It's less required because of what you all are. There's less of the pleasantry. She's not asking you anything. It's more just seeing how well you take immediate direction. Can you follow along with run around the room, do this, do a push-up, do all this crap? She's just trying to see, are you capable of following? So does anyone dissent from that? Does everyone go with the flow of it?
Super into it.
I'm super into it. Okay.
I think Cora maybe tries to steal a couple of glances at everyone else, just to kind of like, hey, I'm doing this with the group. That's cool, right? You know? Um, and then sort of gets to business.
You do notice a little bit, Poppy, that Chris is trying to keep pace with you, or trying to get you to keep pace with her because she is a little bit taller.
Mhm.
But she does look down at the outfit and she goes, nice. Oh,
Was that a nice you said?
okay. So as you're being put through your initial paces just to see how well you take to direction, basically from like a cold start, she does kind of huddle you around. Okay, so at least you can take direction from someone. That's a start. And just to be clear, out of character, there is no one else here. Just us chickens kind of thing. It's just all kindred. No ghouls, just the nightlife. All the doors are locked. It's a private class. Bruce is sort of beside her, arms crossed. He's not even bothering with a shirt, but because he doesn't sweat, he's not glistening. He just looks like confidently able to throw someone through a wall, but quiet about it. He's
Humble. So humble.
Yeah. So, to reiterate, Pavel starts. Not one of you have ever actually been in a fight with us, your own kind. Sparring doesn't count, by the way. And she, looking at the, excuse me, Tabby and Artem. No.
Not me.
Do any of you know how to kill one of us?
Has Kate gotten any particular instruction on that at Veritas so far?
Not at Veritas.
But from Rook?
You haven't had a
like
lot of
maybe
time with
he's-
Rook. You would have had some semblance of this from your sire.
Okay.
He would have walked you through some of the things that are myth, some of the things that are true. But there's a certain amount of holding back to see if you ask the right questions. A certain amount of he's still waiting to see if you are a worthy investment. He doesn't want to give you all the answers. And he also doesn't want you to have all the answers in case you get any bright ideas. So there's a little bit of earned knowledge. So you know some things, but not everything.
What about Zoya?
Zoya, she didn't really talk a lot about other kindred. She probably would have said enough damage to anything will kill it.
Mm-hmm.
But in her more laconic, straight to the point kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Considering what else you shared the woods with, that is quite the statement. And you have seen her put it on display.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that you would know first and foremost, is that enough damage will bring down anything. It's that if it bleeds, it can die mentality.
Mm-hmm.
For Tara, you were about to say something.
Oh, I don't know if it would have been like a raise your hand and answer type of
If
thing,
you want.
but at least Tabby for sure, when asked how it's done or like has anyone done it, Tabby does get kind of a distant look in her eye, because she answers no, has she ever done it, but she has seen it done. At
With
least some of
Max?
at least some of the ways that vampires can be destroyed. And not Max.
She does try and quiet everyone down briefly, and she does look at you quite seriously. Kentucky.
Yeah.
So you were there as it all started to go to shit.
Some good portion die all at once. Or at least in very quick succession.
Okay. I need you to sober these people up and tell them how.
Kind of awkwardly repositioning and or taking the space of the room. Uh, at least we're all familiar with the big one of day. but that's not involved. I've seen quite a few get shot. If you have a big enough gun or enough bullets, you shred one of us, then not much coming back from that. But a thing that I myself often have to remember whenever I'm feeling strong, because we're all strong. We all, at least in some capacity, are more than what we used to be. But are you the type of strong that grabs one of us and just pulls them apart? Because plenty are. Or grows knives on their hands and just starts cutting. I don't know the exact amount necessary. I'm sure it depends, but if you are taken like an old rag and torn in half, you don't come back from that.
Well, when you're young, yes. The older you get, the less that's true. But in terms of all of you, something to pay attention to. Thank you, Tabby. So the broad strokes of enough damage, especially in a group, you can bring down someone pretty tough. But numbers aren't everything. You actually have to know what you are, how your body functions, and how it doesn't. Anyone here ever been staked?
Poppy's eyes like shift side to side, like very anxiously, and then she just kind of waves a hand. Yeah.
You don't need to tell us why, but maybe share with them what it felt like.
Bad. It's the worst. Like I was frozen and in the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire existence. Um, yeah.
Were you conscious all the way through it?
I don't remember. Was I? I was like in and out, wasn't I?
It was definitely a bit of both.
Yeah.
Some of it was just the shock of it.
Yeah. Um, for parts of it, yes. I was conscious and asked questions, and it's just, it's not fun.
So, staking is the one surefire way to just stop one of us outright without killing. Works great for getting around that whole right of destruction commandment. However, hell of a trick to actually stake someone in the middle of a fight. You're gonna have to get good at the fighting part before you even think about doing that, unless you're real good at sneaking up on someone. One or two of you might have an inkling that they're real stealthy. Yes.
Does it have to be a certain kind of steak, or does it, like, do people just carry them around?
It's always got to be wood. Some people got the bright idea to stake someone with an antenna off a roof, and it didn't do anything but piss them off. But you could just use a chair leg, a mop. Doesn't have to be special, doesn't have to be consecrated by the church or any of that bullshit. Just a sharp piece of wood through the heart. And then whatever they were doing, they're not. As Poppy, I'm sure you can attest to that.
He just nods silently.
So you know the broad strokes now. Enough damage, stake, sunlight. But here's the thing. Swords are really, well, swords and axes are really the best thing that you can use. Because
I was
bullets,
just going to ask about swords, actually.
sharp objects, we have a harder time with. Now, if you're a Ventru, you're a little more numbed and inured to such things. But, as before, enough abuse will bring down anyone. The question is, can you do enough before you have their attention? Maybe you're able to swing that axe, but you miss, or they're a harder target than you expect. And then they look at you, and they can make you do something else entirely. Even if it's something as simple as making you drop the weapon. Now you're unarmed. It's not just about how fast, how hard you can hit. You have disciplines. You're going to have to learn how to use those as well. Now you are young, and some of those are less combative. But it's all about being creative, finding your moment. The right step at the wrong time. Even someone far older, far more powerful, can be caught unawares. So here's the challenge I'm going to give each of you. You're going to square off with someone. And if you want to take this seriously, it's not just about how hard you're going to hit them. That's important. But if you have a discipline, especially something mental, each of you need to know how to use it, and each of you need to know what it feels like when it's being used on you. Pair up. So if anyone wants to decide who they're pairing with now, that's all good. I'm going to say for Artem, because you texted Bruce, you really want to go after him.
Makes sense that I would go up against Chris at least at some point in the evening, probably first.
Is that who you want to go at right now, or?
Unless someone else is trying to lock eyes with Tabby, that makes sense.
Okay.
He's like, who wants this?
Yeah. So I'm going to just start making my list here. Artem and Bruce.
Does anyone want to fight?
Yeah.
All right then.
Haha. Yay.
Does Kate have anyone?
No.
She does. She has Havel.
Ooh.
Okay, let me just make sure I have
Nice.
all these written down. So it was Artem and Bruce, Chris and Tabby, Kate and Poppy. Was it? No,
Kate
sorry.
and Havel.
Kate. And Havel.
And then Cora and I will.
Now, I have to say, there's always that thing in school where you don't want to be partnered with the teacher, but I feel like for a Ventrue, that's almost a feather in the cap.
Mhm.
Okay, so who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay,
Venture
Keith.
showing initiative. Good. I like it.
Unsurprising.
Now, we can do a couple things here. We can do the just straight up combat stuff. It'd be good to get some practice at that. So if you want to roll,
Here's what I want to do.
mm-hmm,
I want to fight for a little bit,
mm-hmm.
and then I want to try to catch her eye to eye.
Okay.
Already strategizing on how you beat the teacher.
So we're gonna go with
Pretty cool.
dexterity and brawl.
Nice job, Smoggles.
I ain't got no roll.
Okay, so you're gonna be rolling at a higher difficulty.
What, a
So
7?
it'd be 7.
One success.
1 success. Okay. Okay. So she was primarily dodging. And it's less about trying to go shot for shot. It's more a case of she's trying to check your follow through. She got a fair amount of successes, so it's more just catching hands and redirecting you, catching hands, redirecting you, spinning around. But she's not throwing you into the ground. She's giving you constant opportunity to keep trying. So this is not I'm going to flip you into the ground and that's the end of the fight and that's your lesson. It's, okay, that's not working. That's not working. This is not working. This is starting to do something that didn't quite. I missed a step. It's constant opportunity and trying to show you where you are not achieving so that you are picking up on things. It's not easy. It's not what you are used to. You're not used to someone being able to move this fast. And not just fast, but if you do get close to hitting, they're able to just knock it aside with a block. Faster than you were expecting, harder than you were expecting. But in no way that is diminishing. You are learning what she's doing and why she's doing it. It's like she's showing you a glimpse of her combat flowchart. She is responding to the things you're doing. She is taking you seriously. She's not doing that, oh, you've made me use 1% of my power kind of bullshit. There's no egotism involved. But you are using this as part of a feint. You're trying to get her eye line. Yeah?
Mhm.
What are you trying to do?
When in that second I have it, I'm gonna tell her to surrender and I want to use command.
Okay. Send to me in a DM, really quick, your generation.
Ooh. I looked. I don't see anything about this specific one, but that might be to dominate as a whole. So
It's dominate as a whole.
gotcha.
Okay. So
I know there's a large chance this won't work, but we were told to test our abilities.
okay. So what does it say for the system part of that? What does it tell you to roll?
I roll manipulation plus intimidation, and it's versus their willpower points.
Okay.
So let me look at that.
I'm going to have you roll this. Okay, no,
What
this
number do
isn't
you want?
fair. They have high willpower, and it doesn't really matter in the end.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to just waste time with that. But what's the command exactly that you're trying to give them?
Surrender.
Surrender. Ooh. Interesting. She looks at you and smiles. You got close up to her, like you were right, like trying to take up her entire sight line.
Hmm.
Okay. Good try. No. For two reasons. That's when she does sort of commit to just throwing you into the ground, but it's not brutal. It wouldn't drop the breath out of you on impact, even if you were human. It's more just you did your play, it didn't work. Here's the consequence. It's not slamming into the ground. It doesn't feel like unnatural strength. It's just you feel where her foot was behind your ankle and just this up and down. It's barely a centrifugal force as much as up, twist, down, but in a way that is very controlled. Even your head doesn't just slap the ground. It's just you feel your basically your shoulders, and in a way that you are held so that your head doesn't snap back and hit it. As much as she has strength, she has control, and she's exhibiting it. She's going to lean in. I'm not going to tell you the number. I'm lower generation, so that's not going to work. It was a good try, big risk. And she is going to start helping you up. The other thing is that it is one of the more difficult to use abilities in combat, because it's certain things will go against someone's nature. And if they're fighting, they want to live, they want to survive. Telling them to surrender goes against that. So you need to find something else, some other key word that's going to be more malleable. It was a good thought, though. Just wrong target. Do you have presence yet? Do you know how to use that?
Working on it.
That's a little more surefire. It is less stifled by generation. I would suggest looking into that. But good try. Something to pay attention to is whether you can guess someone's generation. Try and find some of these things out ahead of combat if you can. I know that's not always feasible. But maybe you could end a few fights before they start. You been training with Rook?
Hmm.
It shows. Come on. Once more. And as you get into a little more back and forth, is it okay if we pan the camera over, or do you want to say or do anything else?
That's fine.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Okay. What you got?
First off, walking up onto the mat or the ring, Tabby asks Chris, so what counts as a win in this situation? I feel like that's important to know. Also, if there's any other things I should not be doing to you. I don't know, like can't show a bruise or something. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know who's your sire. Am I going to be hunted if I knock a tooth out?
There's a moment
Maybe.
where that smile kind of just starts to actually dim, where I think under the circumstances he'll be fine. What about you?
Well, well, first of all, uh, teeth can be knocked out. That's totally fine. Uh, uh, I don't know. I guess we'll feel out what counts as a loss.
Okay. Now, are there any disciplines you want to try?
Yes.
Okay. What specifically?
The moment that those rules have been established,
Mm-hmm.
Tabby's just gonna freeze and will attempt to obfuscate disappear.
Okay. So which one are you using?
Uh, just the base one, the one that requires her to stand still.
Okay.
But
You
she
also
will
need to
not mention
be
that.
you need to be in proper darkness for that.
Okay, darkness. Okay, darn.
So
That's all right then.
it's not the most brightly lit place, but there are a fair amount of lights, and you are in like the main sort of matted area where there are lights overhead.
Cool. Makes sense. Oh well. Uh, in that case, Tabby will just kind of stand and see what move Chris does. But in
Hmm.
terms of prepared disciplines, uh, very much the moment that Chris would enter her space,
Hmm.
she would attempt to use as much strength and like grappling ability to just
Okay.
lock onto her and grasp her if possible and pretty much take her down
Oh,
as she would
okay.
a
There
person that she would
are
feed.
specific rules for this.
Very much no punches. This is a I've got you type of thing.
Hmm. That's the wrong part of the book. Where are you?
Because Chris saw her try to be fast last time. She's not
Hmm.
seen her try to be just as strong as she can be.
Do you want to grapple? I'm going to go with here we go. You're gonna go strength and brawl. Do you
Excellent.
have potence?
I do.
Okay, so add that on top of it.
And I would love to use a blood pool.
Okay, so you want to spend a blood
Mm.
to. Okay, so mark off one blood and add to your strength.
All right.
And this will last the entirety of the scene. So you'll have that to spend on any strength related things during all of this.
Cool. All right. So one for the blood pool, one for the potence, and then strength and brawl.
Sorry, say that again?
One for the potence, one
Hmm.
for the blood, spending of blood,
Hmm.
and then strength plus brawl.
Yeah, that's your dice pool.
And I would love to use a willpower.
Okay. So mark that off.
Yep.
So we're going to go with the D&D ruling of your rolling strength base. She's going to go with trying to sluice out of it.
All right.
So it's just a difficulty of 6. What you got?
So many low rolls.
Hmm. I'm not sure if you can quite see that.
Damn, she definitely won. I got 1-1 and just so many not quite successes. I got With the willpower, 2 successes.
Okay. So that saved you from botching then. Or no,
Yes.
you got some successes, but it was canceled out.
Yeah, I rolled
Okay.
10 dice.
Oh, buddy.
I rolled so bad.
Well, of all the times to roll not so great, this was a better time to do it rather than out in the real world where it could really matter. And this is all about
Beans.
the classroom.
We all know
You're here
Chris
to
has
learn.
superpowers anyway.
The Chris curse lives.
So perhaps due to the baggier nature of her ripped up crop sweatshirt, that's all you have in your hands afterwards. Like reverse Toro. As she spins out of it, she's going to drape her arm from behind you over your shoulder, fold her hand in front of your face as her fingers blossom into daggers.
You shed your skin on me.
Fun note, it doesn't just shed skin, the whole thing transforms. There's no chrysalis involved. It is the skin you see is the skin that is the knife.
No, I meant the coat.
Oh, I see. So you're just left holding the shirt. She's holding blades in front of your face.
Son of a bitch.
And she reaches around to whisper into your other ear. So is that a win or how are we doing this?
Yeah. Good job. Damn it.
And she'll kind of uncoil from you a little bit and she'll hold up her hand. Hey, up top.
Happy will not go top ever. But will like move in a gesture as like during quarantine we like touch elbow. She would just kind of gesture in that way, but very much watching her both of her hands. I still owe you some, or you're still trying to get something from me. No high fives yet.
Oh, we should have agreed to different rules. So, is there anything you want to try further with that?
Nah, not totally dejected, but
Mhm.
Bummed. We'll go and slouch and squatting near the edge of the ring.
Well, actually, I'm going to have you do another roll. I'm going to have you do... you have a new thing to contend with. You're finding out a discipline that can be used. But you don't want to get hit by it. Or at least you're assuming you don't. So I'm going to have you roll Dex and Athletics. Difficulty 6.
With the blood pool?
No, because that was towards your strength.
Yes.
And you don't have the willpower spent on unless you want to try and do that here.
Nah. Let's not commit on too much.
Okay.
You said of 6?
Mm-hmm.
3 successes.
3 successes.
Damn it.
Okay.
Can't beat
So
the dice gods all the time.
you're going to help me adjudicate this a little bit. She's going to get a piece of you, but she's not trying to like rip your face or anything like that. Are you okay with having your already stylistically ripped clothing? Because I'm assuming you haven't gone for another shopping spree yet.
Yeah.
Ripped to shribbins in one area.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to have her do damage because this is meant to be more...
Did she just Padme Attack of the Clones and just like cut it into a crop top?
You know what? Yes. She's gonna get just that swipe of you. And it's right across your lower torso. And I'm not going to have you put damage on your sheet, but I am going to have you feel horrific pain for a moment. There is a yell that comes out of you that you were not expecting. You're not bleeding profusely because your blood doesn't run. There was that initial slash. It's very superficial, but it almost doesn't seem to matter, as it's not how far the blades went in as much as the fact that they did at all. So how do you want to react to that?
Very much just the initial yelp and kind of recoiling, taking a few steps back, both hands around the perceived source of the pain, and then just kind of like looking at the hands for blood.
Okay. Does anyone else react to the sound of Tabby having that instinctive but very brief shout of pain?
Yes. Poppy gasps and clasps her hands over her mouth for a moment and then tries to act cool about it because maybe that's just what happens here.
Artem looks like he's about to jump in if Chris wants to keep going with the claws.
On whose side?
It's a good question.
But Tabby will quickly like raise up one of the hands while still clutching at the wound of just like, it's all good. Obvious gesture. Fuck, that hurts. Ow.
For Artem's sake, for a moment, Chris does stop. There is a slight shake as she does force the claw to retreat into being a normal hand again. And there's a moment where she's almost going to reach out, but she doesn't know if she can or should. Do you let her approach or no? Tabby.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were still talking to Artem.
Nope.
Where she just kind of walks towards me with claws still extended.
No. The claws are gone.
Oh. Yeah, I'd let it.
Are you okay?
Yep. Yep, we're good. Not been disemboweled.
And she's looking around a little nervously, and you do see Havel stop for a moment, like just mid sort of like arm lock with Kay, like showing her how to do one. And she stops and looks over. She gives a nod of approval to Chris. Yeah, okay.
You're so
Artem.
You're good at dodging.
She's going to help you over to a bench so you can kind of just sit and...
Ah, fuck.
So here's the thing. I didn't make you spend any blood to heal your tooth, but you are going to have to spend blood to heal aggravated damage.
Makes sense. I think, yeah, well, for the sake of the scene, it makes sense. She would probably start spending that now.
Yeah. So I'm just going to have you spend one. In different scenarios, it would cost you more, but it's by being aggravated, it's superficial.
Would this also heal the tooth? I think
it would
go for that at the same time.
You would feel this. It's a bit of that time lapse where you're watching these wounds knit themselves back together in the same way that you almost have to be aware of breathing on autopilot for a second. It's that you are almost doing it yourself, but in a way that's like being aware of how to like move your own ear. Not something maybe you can do, but for some reason when it comes to this, it's something you know how to do. You're watching this reknit itself. The blood that has left your body from the wound is still around the wound, but the wound itself is closed. But you also have this weird sensation of a tooth erupting. But because it is an open wound and not just like a sealed over gap, it doesn't cause any harm in that way. You're not feeling it have resistance. This is just this tooth that wasn't there, just sort of weird reverse rip. Like almost like that Alice was reaching in to lift the tooth up in the slot behind it, sort of thing, and putting it back into place.
Ugh. My skeleton system's fucked.
She's just gonna sit with you for a little bit, but Artem, for a moment, when you looked over, a little distracted by that display, you caught just this meaty fist in the cheek. Hey man, you gotta stay ready. Don't get distracted.
Yeah. Fuck.
So, how do you wanna... How do I put this? How do you tackle this mountain?
So first and foremost, ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know what we can do?
He looks over at Chris and Tab goes, yeah, I can kind of figure that shit out.
I don't have to do it.
Wouldn't be the worst thing I've seen.
Okay.
So
Artem's
remember
own
to,
hands.
yeah,
Okay.
remember to mark off the blood for it.
Yes, it is 2.
Hmm. So both you and Chris are going to be a little bit hangry maybe on the way back.
Gonna have to go for some fast food after.
Okay. So are you being more on the attack or more on defense? How do you want to do this?
Artem is going to let him make the first move. He figures that Bruce is stronger than him,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't know if he's faster. So he wants to see if he can use his own speed to maneuver himself into a position where he can make a decisive strike, or if he's going to have to react and hopefully catch him as Bruce is trying to make his own.
So I'm having him roll at a lower difficulty because this is activating his specialty.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'd like to use a willpower as well.
okay. Well, just for that, he's going to spend some blood. But just one.
Okay.
So you're trying to dodge effectively? Or are you trying to scrape at him? What do you want to do? We could treat this as he's trying to get you, you're trying to dodge, or it could be the other way around, or it could just be he's trying to hit you, you're trying to hit him, and we just adjudicate who got higher.
We'll do that one.
Okay.
Because the feeling out period is only going to take a couple of seconds. This is Artem has lived a violent life and he knows how to get the measure of someone very quickly.
Okay. So, roll your dice.
Oh, shit.
I feel like we should all start using Graham's rolling app because
Yeah, I'd love to roll
Yeah,
6
what do you
successes.
use? That
It
sounds great.
technically no longer exists. It's from the people who produced V20, but I feel like we'll talk about it afterwards. It's just easier for me to do in my limited space is to use their VTM app.
Mm-hmm. So I did get 5. This was dexterity in brawl. Yes, it doesn't actually matter strength versus dexterity.
Mm-hmm. So he got 6.
Fuck.
So he is doing a bit of a rope-a-dope. Like he's baiting you into moments where you take your swipe when you feel like you've actually have your moment. When you feel as though he's stepping in when you should be stepping out. But it's a feint as he's pivoting out of the strike zone, and he's just giving you a soft pop, letting you know that he won that little moment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's follow-ups like that. They're not, again, this is about control. This is not about just lambasting you through a wall. It's about just those moments of brief contact to show that I got the hit. I got the hit.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like fencing in that way. You're getting that touch, and then you're stopping, and then you're going again and seeing what occurs. And it's fairly close. You do get the impression he is holding back, but in a way that's not belittling. It's more just
I didn't add my willpower.
you didn't add your willpower.
So we're both at 6.
Okay. Interesting. We're just gonna do 1 die just to
Fuck.
yeah. Oof.
Out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
So technically he has 2 successes based off of that.
Oh, well then I probably can't. Well, I guess if I roll 210. Oh man. Wait, you can't see it. It's a 9.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll continue the narrative we just had.
Mm-hmm.
The dice gods are mean tonight.
But he's trying to show you not, hey, I can hit you. It's more, this is your blind side. This is your blind side. This is your blind side. So that you are learning why it's happening, not just I'm beating you. None of this is about, hey, I can kick your ass. He's showing you why it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of bob and weave going on. So he's trying to get you to follow some of his footwork.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing good, but it's just you're lacking form. You got a lot of strength, you got a decent amount of speed, but not enough formal training to it. You need to be honed in a proper direction. So
All right.
as this is going back and forth, is there anything you want to say or do?
So yeah, I guess as he is getting humbled a bit, learning, he will. It gets to a point where it kind of makes sense for both of them to stop. And after that, Artem will say, so what about powers for you? What have you got?
Let me find the exact page. We're going to do a little bit of presence. Well, actually, let's check in with you on that. Is it okay if he tries his presence on you?
Yeah.
Because this can be emotional.
This is something
assault.
Artem is asking for.
Okay. I just
He'd
want to double check.
appreciate a primer, but this is he'd never seen anything like what Kate tried to do before, so he's interested in the other things.
Okay. So you're going to get back into a combat stance.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be kind of doing the rope-a-dope at each other, bobbing and weaving. And when you're not expecting it, he's going to just overpower you emotionally. What's your wits and courage total out to?
Wits and courage.
Yes, because that's going to be the what determines the difficulty.
7.
Okay. Well, he has fewer dice for this. Dose.
2. Okay. I don't suppose I roll anything follow up.
That is sort of the unfortunate thing with presence is that it is based on stats that you have, but getting to roll against it is where it gets a little busted, which is why I try to be very sparing about using it.
Mm-hmm.
What you do feel is a certain amount of. You didn't realize that he was the mountain that he is. He is the definition of insurmountable odds, and he is looming over you.
Artem will sort of back up and like, whoa, shit.
And in that moment, the moment you back up, he stops pressing that advantage. He's not going to sit there and abuse. He's made his point.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? Right moment guy's about to take a good clean shot of your head and you hit him with that. And suddenly, it's wide open.
That's crazy.
You all right? You need to sit down?
No, I'm good.
All right. We're going to try this
Appreciate it.
again. We're going to go back to the sparring. Camera pans away over to a different part of the room with Poppy and Cora.
Okay.
So you ready?
Yeah, I guess. And Poppy kind of like turns away from you for a second, and when she turns back around, she's gonna try Dread Gaze. Um, and I like to think, maybe this is like a story thing. I like to think that today is the first day that she's ever attempted, like that she's ever had this in her grasp, really, just from the conversation with Nico and then being reminded of the worst day of her on life, almost casually in a like a classroom scenario. Um, so I think that all kind of builds up in her. She's like, ah, fuck it, let's do it. And then she will turn around
It may
and
not even be conscious. She may not
yeah,
even know she can do it as much as she just has that instinct.
yeah. So
So,
she's
but here's the thing. We're going to, like what I just did with Artem.
mhm,
Are you okay with that
being
happening?
scared.
Sure. I don't know exactly what it does, but I'm ready.
Well, you just saw it happen to Artem.
Make you really scared.
So that's your wits and
Uh,
courage is what's going to determine the difficulty
Wits and courage. Let's
for
see.
Cora. I mean,
That's Cora. And I roll charisma and intimidation.
mm-hmm.
Great.
So if you want to tell her what you can either send it to her directly or you can say it on mic.
Uh, yeah, charisma, intimidation. Okay. I got 4 successes and 1 failure.
Is that
No.
against Cora's the difficulty that she gave you?
Oh, no. I was
Oh,
just
I have
rolling
to
my
present a difficulty?
charisma
Yes.
and intimidation.
So it's your wits and courage is what sets the difficulty, like it did with Arnhem.
Oh, my
Oh,
bad.
okay. Well, it is the standard difficulty.
Okay.
So
So does your roll stand? Poppy?
I got 4 successes. What is the standard? I'm sorry.
6 is always the standard.
Oh, so yeah, it does.
Okay. So I'm not going to have you do it was 4 successes, really. Okay.
4 successes. I got an 8 and or 80, 90, 80, 90.
Okay.
I know I'm rolling with the bad dice.
So I'm not going to have the worst of this happen right now since this is a friendly sparring match, but at
Yeah.
3 or more successes, you are trying to climb the walls to get away from her.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
to think that like her neck somehow like expands to have these teeth also kind of just like churning inside of it in some way,
We'll
like
won't
it's like
go that
hungry
route
or
because
something.
that's much more of like a Samitsi body horror kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Might be
It's
more
more
Mark of Cain.
very apt description.
Hmm.
It's you are just this strangely terrifying, murderous waif, not unlike a certain mini Nosferatu in the sewers. You just give off this confusing sense of dread as if you didn't just have a nice conversation in the car, as if that cup of coffee she was handing you with one hand was hiding the knife she was holding behind your back. She's coming to get you.
I like to imagine that wherever they're sparring, it is near the bench where the coffees have been brought in, and Cora is going to knock against it and spill those. And as she backs away and like basically tries to put as much distance between the two of them as she can, and as she's doing so, she's like, "Verfickte Scheiße, Papi! Like, you don't. We haven't even started."
Sorry.
And you can call that out to her from the other corner of the
So you
building,
backed right
but
up.
but she's Cora's gonna collect herself over there for a while.
Havel is sitting on the floor next to Fulton, and she kind of leans in and nudges you a little bit. That's how that works. You got someone to teach you that yet? You're muted. Oh, okay.
Working on it.
Okay. Can we come back to you in a minute then? Or oh, sorry, that was your in character. I thought you were
Yeah.
doing something
No.
around you. No, okay. Let me know. We'll work something out. So do you try to go and console Cora, or do you guys try and
Yeah.
have a little bit of a continued fight?
I think Poppy will have a moment of like, oh God, that was like half on purpose, half not. I started too early, fearing that she's somehow broken rules again. Um, and so she'll try to drop it and go up to Cora and be like, I didn't realize we hadn't started yet, and I didn't know that I was gonna do that. I'm so sorry about that.
It
It's
was
good to know it works.
we were fighting. It's you did what you needed to do. I just that's very new for me.
Yeah.
So
Sorry. Do you want to keep going?
I'd at least like to give it a try. Not that I would have the opportunity if this were the real deal.
I won't do it anymore.
Um, you know what? It's me again.
With the look.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fine. It'll be fine.
great. And she'll try to do it again.
Same rules.
Same rules. Okay. Charisma, intimidation. 6 is the thing. Okay. Um, 2 6s. So, and the others are a 2 and a 3.
It doesn't hit you like the freight train that it was earlier, but you are startled, off your feet, off your mark, and you are immediately trying to find a way to not be in the same physical space as her.
Cora is going to excuse herself to the locker room.
The question is, does Poppy allow it to persist long enough for her to do that? Or do
I
you
don't know
drop
if
it within like seconds?
I think the second that Poppy senses that Cora, her opinion has changed about what's happening, she'll drop it and be like, "Okay. Uh, we can keep going. I can just not do this. That's fine."
It's a very strange sensation.
I'd
Does
like
it
to give.
linger afterwards, or when it's
If
dropped,
she
is it just
drops it,
done?
it's gone.
Okay.
It's weird. It's almost like a phantom sensation that like you don't know why you felt like that,
Yeah.
and you don't know why you should. Look at her; she's a mouse.
Well, I know I'm taking you with me if I think I'm going to get in any scrapes. I'll say that.
Yeah, we
I
have
would
each
like.
other's backs.
Absolutely.
I would like to
Yes.
give Cora a moment to roll something against Poppy. That seems only fair.
All
Yeah,
right.
please hurt me.
Okay. Well, here we
Well,
go.
we talked earlier about kink shaming and kink asking why. So, like I said, 2 things came back full circle in this one interaction.
That's beautiful.
Inquiring.
Mhm.
All right. So,
What do you want to do? Physical or discipline?
I think. Yeah, she's not good at physical, but let's just try the physical.
How you get better?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to be on attack, Poppy on defense, or do you want to just have you're both trying to hit each other and I take who rolls the highest?
I think Cora is going to say, well, what I was going to show you is some things I learned from that family member I was telling you about.
Right,
So
right.
it's like this, and then she'll just immediately throw a Shotokan karate kick at her.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Are you trying to dodge this or are you both sort of attacking each other?
We'll try to dodge because I feel like she's kind of uh, taken aback by it, maybe.
Okay. So I'm just going to have Poppy roll Dex Athletics. For Cora, you're going to be rolling Dex Brawl. Now, do you want to
Okay.
spend blood on this or any willpower?
Yeah, I'll spend blood, cause I don't have any brawl otherwise.
Okay. So you are going to be at a
Same
higher.
girl, same.
You're going to be at a higher difficulty then.
Okay. So it's Dex, Brawl, and then because Dex is involved, celerity gets to come into the picture
Yes.
with me, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I am using one of my disciplines.
So, Poppy, if you
Nice.
have any celerity, that also gets
I
added to that.
do.
Hey, all right.
Celery
So,
girls.
I love some celery. Put
Love
in
me
the
some
Bloody
celery.
Marys.
All right. Where's my... If I have 1 dot in celerity, that's my cat's brace, right? New powers. New powers, who dis?
Do you have on your sheet, do you just have celerity written in your disciplines?
Yes, I have
Okay.
1 pip of celerity, which
Okay.
means...
You just get to add a die to your dex pool.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was overthinking things and trying to
Mm.
find ancient texts.
Mhm.
One
Okay,
pip crew.
1 pip. Pip pip cheerio. Okay. And difficulty of
The 6. Or
6
yeah,
as
because
per
you
usual.
have do you have athletics?
I do have some athletics. I have 2
Okay.
athletics.
All right. So that gives you
Wow.
Some more. Yeah, 3 successes.
okay.
Damn, only 2 successes for me.
I imagine she just seems to sidestep right as your leg is shooting past where her head was just a second ago because she's quite short. And you just sort of feel the air rustle through your hair just a little bit.
Oh my God.
Well, Poppy, you're full of surprises. Slow down.
It's the
And
trauma.
I am gonna try to use my dominate, to use that word slow to try to get her to just be a little less jumpy, uh, so I can actually hit her if
Brilliant.
I get another opportunity.
Uh, Slow. That's interesting because, like with surrender, well, you tell me, is your fight or flight kicked up right now? Or is this a game to you,
Me or Cora?
Poppy?
I think her fight or flight is definitely in. She is very anxious.
Okay. So I'm gonna say trying to slow someone down when they know they need to be fast. It's not
Mhm.
quite life or death, but they know that they're gonna get hit. So it's counterintuitive. So it wouldn't really work going off
Okay.
of the example that happened earlier. We want to keep things fair. Um, I'm gonna let you try another thought
All right.
if you can
Um,
think of something.
God. Something that redirects without being contradictory to the idea of self-preservation in a fight.
As someone that's played Adventure a very long time, I'll give you
Dear
one.
Lord.
I'll give you one, and then you're on your own after that. Bob left.
Who's Bob?
You.
So, Korra only has enough dominate to use one-word commands, though,
Mhm.
so she can't.
It's the idea of you are giving a word and then you're giving context. You're giving the qualifier. You
Okay.
command works when you bury it in a sentence in order to give it context, but you have to have a command word in there. So if you say left, like, well, I left my wallet, but if you're going move left, you're supplanting something. So if you want to try that, I'll let you do it.
All right. Well, when
It
Poppy
will be at a
doesn't
higher
slow
difficulty,
down,
though.
Korra will say, almost with a question mark, step back. And she's gonna try to set her up to be able to trip her.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Where was that page
If you
again?
are okay with that, of course.
Oh yeah, trip me, please.
I've got command right here if you need me to read it to you, Graham.
I just need to know what is being rolled.
Manipulation plus intimidation
Gotcha, thank you.
versus the target's current willpower points.
So, Poppy, what is your willpower?
I have 5 willpower.
Okay. So for Cora, that's your difficulty.
Okay.
I'm actually going to do this at a 6 because you're doing this mid-combat. It is
Okay.
hard to like get the eye line. And again, they are trying to self-preserve. So it's where it gets a little weirdly wobbly. So manipulation and intimidation.
2 successes.
Nice. So you're trying to get her to do exactly what?
I just want her to just take a single step backwards because my foot's gonna be there. No, in fact, this is more of a East German karate move. I am going to set myself up to be ready to actually grab her leg and pull her forward with it so that as she steps back, she's got the momentum of going backwards, as
Mm.
then I carry it through by getting low and just tilting her.
I would say that East German karate is gun, but we'll sidestep that a little bit
Well,
and
so yeah, I read a very informative article for this.
Cool.
Gerhard might disagree, but
I'm sure he knows the other things about it.
So you have effectively caught her in a misstep.
Mhm.
Now, the real question I have for you is this a controlled impact? Or are you letting her experience some frustration that you've had?
Oh God, Cora. Iskra would catch Poppy, Cora would not. I think Cora, who likes to push things, assumes that that's what everybody likes. She's not well examined.
I think she needs to schedule an appointment with Aldridge. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, so Poppy, if you were dependent on breathing, you would be in a bad state if you feel all the air just slap out of your lungs. But because you are not beholden to all the processes, you're able to reincorporate air without struggling.
Mhm.
Your lung didn't just briefly collapse for half a second. But you are on the ground. You are tasting new air for a moment.
Cora will immediately appear above her with the hand out.
That was good. That was good.
At least I'm good for something.
You're good for a lot of things.
Help her up if she desires.
Yeah, I'll stand up.
I'm going to say that you go a few more rounds in between this, and I'm going to pan back over to Kate for a moment. You've had a little more back and forth with Havel. You are being given a lot more one-on-one with the teacher than the rest of the class is getting, save maybe Artem, who's getting pretty good up-close lessons with someone who clearly knows what he's doing. But Havel has been taking time showing you actual moves, things that are relevant to mortal crowd control as well. It's like she's showing you some arm bars, but she's also showing you in a way that it's not just you are arm barring, you are doing a way that it's not just shattering the elbow, it's shattering the forearm and the wrist, so that you are at least minutely, or for a moment, taking some of the weapon away. You think for a moment of Chris, Artem. They might have bladed hands, but if their arm's not working for even just a couple of seconds that it takes for them to heal it, you have a couple more seconds to do something else to them. So she's trying to show you some ways to think about this, how to, in some ways, deconstruct your opponent. But remind me, do you have fortitude?
No.
Okay. She is going to give you, during a few of your continued rounds, a couple of sharp pops, but again, a way that is controlled. She's not shattering ribs. She's not breaking any bones. It's in the same way with Artem and Bruce, showing you a blind side and reminding you that you can be hit. You've seen other Venture being able to take a hit. You saw the Prince of Savannah take a massive hit and not even blink. You know that it is possible. You don't necessarily want to rely on it, but it's good to have. So she's showing you where it would be good to shoulder through one of these things if you get hit, being able to just turn and get out of it, to use it to your advantage. So what I'm going to have you do, we're going to do just a normal brawl. I'm going to have you go after her.
What press blocks? I don't have any brawl.
Okay. So what was that last part?
I don't have any brawl, so what plus?
So it's going to be Dex. If you have any celerity.
Nope.
You can choose to spend blood to up your dexterity. You can choose to spend a willpower. That's going to give you an auto success.
I'll spend a willpower.
Okay. No blood?
No.
Okay.
7.
Yes.
Well, that 1 is going to cancel out that willpower, so no successes.
It does not.
It doesn't? Okay.
No. That's the whole point of the willpower spend, is that you get
Gotcha.
an auto success that cannot be canceled.
Then 1.
Okay. Tell me where you were trying to hit.
Probably the jaw.
Go for the jaw. So you trying to bob and weave a little bit. It's unfamiliar. You do sail under an arm. You do tap it, but in a way that she sort of just turns into it. Almost like you're catching the fingers between the jaw line, and she's just nudging a little bit. Well, that is progress. Being able to get a hit more than most people do on the first day. But the follow through is where it's going to really matter. Now for you, maybe you're not a combat person, and that's fine. That's what we're here to learn. You're also here to gauge an opponent when you know a fight is not worth it. So the question for you is, in a fight that you can't win, how do you win? Or rather, how do you not lose as badly as you could? Any thoughts?
Trying to sort me, the player, from Kate at this current moment, because my brain is not coming up with a response.
Okay. Trick is, try to analyze the opponent before you get into the fight, so there isn't one if you can't win. Bruce, come here a second. He just walks on over, doing the man boulder move of just sort of like the roll of the shoulders. It's just way too brawny all at once. Just tell him to do something. And the way she's saying it to you, she's pointing at the eyes. Command.
Okay, thank you. I was not following.
Okay. And
wanna
she
tell-
gets into a little bit of a fight with him. They're doing a little bit of a spar.
If I can catch his eye, because that's the trick.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to be standing behind her,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna have to be just sort of matching movements. So you're almost learning how to bob and weave in a very strange, very roundabout way to maintain.
Does she have a certain hit that she favors? Like if I told him to lean towards like whichever.
So what I want to ask is your intent.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to get him hit, or are you trying to get him to hit her?
No, I want to get him hit.
Okay. Understood. Okay. You seem, or she seems to be fairly ambidextrous in the sense that she doesn't seem to favor one side or the other. She has rather well trained both sides. But that doesn't mean that she can't be utilized, because it's him that you're trying to take out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more looking at him.
I think I'm gonna tell him to lean in.
Mhm.
Like I'm guessing if he's like, if he can dodge a certain set, wait for like a combo, and then tell him to lean into it rather than lean back.
I'll help you out here.
Okay.
Leaning into an oncoming hit is kind of counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were trying to trick him into finding hit the wrong timing,
Mm-hmm.
to misunderstand when that combo is incoming, it's like, okay, the combo's over. I'm going to lean in to do my. No, wait, there's still more combo coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have you roll that.
Like Melania.
What was that?
Just like Melania.
You had it a few minutes ago, the command. I can't.
Manipulation, intimidation.
Got it. Versus
His willpower.
Okay. So his willpower is 6.
I have 2 6s.
Hmm?
And that's the highest I've got. I've got 2 6s.
You roll 2 6s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that
I don't know if it's a meets
beats.
it, beats it. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's very much D&D in that way. And you got 2. So 1 would have been enough, 2 is much more convincing. You watch as they're making it difficult in the sense that there is some rotation to it. They are moving in the space. It's not just in a straight line, but you manage to kind of just lean into the frame at the right moment. You give them that little suggestion of now. He leans in right at the wrong moment, and you see this roll of fists across his arm in a way that Jeet Kune Do style, where it's attacking just a series of nerves along the arm before it hits the neck, which isn't a real problem in the sense that he doesn't need to breathe, but he does lose a little bit of motion of the arm as he's trying to bring it up, but it won't go. And she's standing way too close for this to be sensible, but she ends up being able to send just a straight kick so that her heel hits him right in the jaw, or rather the chin, and his head goes back much faster than you were expecting. And he does timber this mountain of a man that Artem was having trouble with earlier, the one that loomed over him, at least in his mind, got him to retreat back a step. Just had the back of his head bounce off the mat. You didn't hit him. You made someone else do the dirty work. She's going to look over at you. If you can't win, make someone else do it. Okay. Swap. And as she's getting everyone to change dance partners, I think it's a good time for us to head on out for the evening. But before we do, I always like to get some final thoughts. And we're going to start with Kate. It was a bit of an up and down. You managed to get some, well, dates. One date in particular and one hangout. So your social card is getting filled. But the combat was a bit topsy-turvy for you. How are you feeling tonight?
Kate is struggling.
Mm.
Watching everyone come in chatting and immediately pair up and feeling a bit like the one who didn't get asked at the dance. And the thing with being a Ventru and being Vesper's child and putting additional weight with that on top of herself, she doesn't like to let anyone see she's vulnerable, even when she is struggling inside. It's like she wants someone to see through the facade, but she can't let the facade drop.
So how's Jeremy the player doing then?
We'll see.
Is there any further thoughts you'd like to lend?
Nope.
Okay. Let's go with Tabby.
Tabby is excited and satisfied to have a group night of brawling, but was disappointed that giving her all on something that she has in her memory worked well on people simply did not pan out in this situation. And it is sad to mentally give your all to something, and sometimes that just doesn't pan, but there will be more times.
How are you feeling about getting slashed up?
Ow.
Yeah.
I think she has one fortitude and good stamina. So I don't think she's really felt pain like that in quite a bit. Maybe an attack has gone wrong against some more violent prey, but very rarely in the last several years has she actually felt something similar to that.
Well, hopefully it's an object lesson of things to avoid in the future.
Chirp things.
Hmm.
She didn't have a tooth knocked out.
In a way, if you think about it, Chris helped her grow it back.
Thank you, Chris. The tooth just like grows out of the wound because she's a Nos and is terrible.
Well, I guess you can have some further conversations with Alice. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Eh.
Okay.
Thank you.
We don't like to lose, but at the same time, he feels like he's getting closer to an opponent that is at his level. Certainly the dice said that more than the fight, but we've got Werewolf, Alden, Havel. Bruce is a little bit closer to something that he thinks is realistic for him to overcome in the next couple of years, assuming he really, dedicates himself. So yeah, he's not getting used to getting knocked on his ass like this quite as bad, but he's feeling like he's understanding a little bit where he is on this ladder, and that at least is giving him something to start building on. The presence was something he's going to have to think about. He's never come up against that kind of ability before, and he's not sure what he's going to do about it. But it is on his mind.
It is an unfortunate reality of kindred life is that there are a lot of abilities you cannot see and therefore cannot account for. And it's good to experience that epiphany in a classroom environment rather than out in the world where it matters. So if anything else, she's all taught you that. How did you feel about seeing Chris go full steak knife?
Well, concerned at first, but it seems like she was able to control it this time, which is really like, it wasn't something done out of anger. It was something done intentionally, and it was something done, a punch pulled essentially, which was probably what he was going to do too. If he had knocked, he probably would have just similar to what Bruce was doing to him, just like finger, I got you, start again. So to see that she's developing at least that kind of control was very encouraging.
Maybe something you can bring up to Olden.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's a future conversation. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Okay. Poppy.
Hey, Graham. Today is not Poppy's day, night, time. Um, she's kind of going through it emotionally. I think she surprised herself by the way that her emotions brought forth her power, in that dread gaze. Um, and she feels a little regretful about having it affect Cora. Um, I think, especially after hoping that she found like a sense of a found family in this group of new bloods. Um, I think she's just kind of grappling with the fact that her past is really defining her in a lot of ways, and that she can't help it, but also what are the things that she can help? And so she feels kind of like she's in a bit of a free fall moment, trying to grasp onto the things that make her her without the influence of a truly awful sire, and some truly terrifying situations.
Well, something for her to consider is this the found family or is she just wanting it to be?
That's a great question. Sure, it will keep her up during the daytime.
Because she learned coterie and what that is, and she tried testing out the word
Mhm,
with not much of a reaction.
mhm.
Because maybe right now it is just a group chat, which doesn't really mean anything. Or
Right,
maybe group chat is just how something starts.
right.
Or maybe it means nothing at all, and this is just a lot of extrapolation for nothing.
Also valid, from a storyteller perspective.
Yes, my perspective is valid. Thank you.
Of course, Graham.
Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think well, Helena's definitely enjoying this emotional turmoil, from a player's perspective. So I'm loving it, loving it.
Okay. Last but not least, Cora.
I hope that Cora and Poppy get to speak because her interpretation of things is so different right now. I think that as we were changing partners, Cora would have like very playfully said to Poppy, "Do you want me to warn the next one, or do you want it to be a surprise?" Um, so, uh, yeah, Cora got her butt kicked, and it felt frustrating at first, but good because she looks around this space and she sees, these words that Poppy had used earlier at the night with her mentioning the word coterie, asking her if Cora had her back, right? Like, I think Cora feels like in this moment, even though she may need a bit of work in the self-defense department, she's feeling like she might have other people that she can rely on to do that in any way, and that she can bring something else to the table, and that feels good. And it feels like a positive continuation of what she had back home, and that even has carried through with her in a way too, in the conversations that she had at the beginning of the night.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, it's fun. It's fun being back. We gotta do with more of this.
Okay. Well, we will pick up this next week. But before we return on Wednesday, tomorrow night on Thursday, we have our uh, Age of Innovation D&D game taking place in the Industrial Revolution in the, was it the, I think 1807 now? I think they've had a little time skip. New players have joined. Same old problems. But check that out. You can see our Discord for notifications. You can see YouTube for all our past episodes. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us. See you next week.